So many.
Apparently, it's not fissure, it's Fisher.
Fisher.
Yes.
It's an S sound, not a sh sound.
Yeah, I was blown away by that one. Anyway, Coast is pronounced Coast, and Team Green Forest is Team Green Forest. And we're going to get into that game right now in Champion Select.
You know what's great is they're both nature-based teams.
It's true.
Games.
Water versus
land.
Yeah. There you go.
Dirt and trees. Well, we're into the game, guys. Shyvana, Ziggs banned away from Green Forest. Kassadin and Lucian. I'm surprised with Shyvana being so fire-based, they would even allow it.
Well, yeah. Well, fire is actually super effective against both of them. Well, actually, it's countered by Coast.
Yeah.
Coast could just go ahead and extinguish the fire, but then a forest fire could be created.
That's why they banned it.
Yeah.
They extinguished Shyvana. The flame is gone. Can't be played. Makes sense. Lore happened here. Twisted Fate also banned away from Nado, so 2 bans away from this key player of Team Green Forest. Meanwhile, Goldenglue's Kassadin, the Lucian away from Mash, who has been actually playing that champion quite a bit.
Yeah, and then the Kayle ban coming out as the very last one for Team Green Forest. Kayle, very good in top lane, very good in mid lane currently.
Yeah.
Works against a lot of the meta champions right now.
Yeah.
Which is her big fort.
Yes, it is. Well, setting up the fort in top lane, there was going to be RHUX with the Jax up there. He's going to be facing up against maybe a Lulu, but also a jungle Elise here for Team Green Forest.
Yeah, Lulu was played by Nado back in the round of 20, and it's in Dat Control's champion pool, but I think that's most likely a mid lane Lulu. When I was watching the Black Monster Cup, that's what Nado was trying to bring to the table and try to just snowball the lane with.
And we'll see if that comes through right now, though. Coast has picked up their bottom lane with everything on the table. They go for the Nami Lucian duo lane right here, so WizFujin playing even more Lucian games for himself. Daydreamin, haven't seen him play Nami yet.
Yep, and I'm glad he's picking up the Lucian here. You know, he has that patented Varus for himself, but opts to go with the flavor of the month here. Sure. We see that Lucian, Twitch, just basically what every AD carry is going for, but the Nami here has the disengage potential. If they're being chased down by a Lulu, it can kind of put a damper on that because she's known for just tracking people down. She's basically a huntress. Like, Lulu's like, if I can catch up to you, which she will with movement speed, and her
you're in for a bad time.
Yeah, she's going to just slow you down and just eventually kill you.
Well, Team Green Forest, though, this is interesting. I don't see enough teams pick Renekton against Jax, but that's going to be the case here for Dat Control in the top lane. Of course, you've already got Twitch locked in there for Dawn, so plenty of late-game power to compensate for the fact that Renekton might just fall off a bit. But the one-on-one lane, that's typically a matchup that goes Renekton's favor.
Yeah, in the one-on-one, he definitely comes out on top. He can shove the wave faster than Jax at the start, get the early level 2, put him underneath the turret, allow dives to happen from around. You know, you can really shut down the Jax. And the fact that you can use your Ruthless Predator while he's using Counter-Strike and just slice and dice away, you can trade very effectively against him. But once Jax hits his power spikes, he just runs away with the game. So the big thing here is, are they going to do a lane swap and just get RHUX into a lane by himself, or is RHUX just a good enough player to go ahead and wait it out against Dat Control's Renekton?
You know what's interesting about this, actually, is that it sucks in a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-0 sort of setup, because if you're not getting any farm, Jax needs items to work well, not just levels, whereas Renekton can kind of get away with it. And of course, again, the 1-on-1 you talked about, can Coast play around that, because by its own, it's going to be really rough. Well, 2 more champions come in, though. The Evelynn jungle there for Mash. Yeah, Lucian banned away, all right. And the Syndra mid lane there, the blind pick for Goldenglue. Well, actually, no, sorry. Of course, it's Lulu. Unless it's a support, there's a chance.
There is a chance that it is a support Lulu. There still is Morgana on the table here. There's still a lot that can be used. I don't know if you'd pick Morgana into Nami completely willingly.
No.
Get the fish on a hook.
Yep.
And that's the best option for you there, is to pick Thresh into that. But the Syndra from Goldenglue, he's always loved those assassin burst type champions. He's loved things like Akali, Zed, etc. Things that have a big bursty ultimate that he can just get a kill and start running away with the game. Of course, he picks the Syndra into a Lulu, who's anti-burst.
Yeah, true.
Go ahead and wild growth yourself. You can go ahead and, it looks like Syndra's setting up the combo. You go ahead and polymorph him, and you're perfectly fine. But Goldenglue, confident in his abilities, that he can go ahead and possibly roam, which is always been his style, is, you know what, I can lose lane, but let's just go somewhere else and create a play. He might be looking top to get RHUX going, or whichever lane he ends up being in.
So it's going to be interesting to look at. We kind of break down these team comps a little bit, because Team Green Forest looks very well-rounded. Yeah. You've got a front line that can get in there. Lulu can follow that up one. You've got tanks there to buy time for Twitch to kill everything. We saw that work really well for Evil Geniuses actually earlier today. It was with the Trundle, but same kind of situation is beefy front line, wild growth, Twitch killing people. Other side Coast, they don't have a real front line. They have spotty ways to reach the back, and I don't know how easily they reach Twitch.
Well, the thing with the composition that they've brought out for themselves, it's actually very popular in Korea, is you have the Evelynn and the Nami. You can go ahead and combine the ultimates, the Agnes Embrace alongside the Tidal Wave, and you actually use 2 secondary engages to create a main engage. Okay. Because if you use the Evelynn ulti, they're all slowed for a very long duration, and you just have the wave go straight through them. And that's how you start the fight off. But the way they get to Twitch is you're going to have to get Jax into the back line somehow, whether it's a teleport onto a ward, or if you just set it up correctly and you get him with
try to brute force it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that is going to be difficult.
Long-range stun with Syndra.
Yeah, that's true.
It's difficult. It's difficult. They have no point in clicks.
I agree. Yeah, I think there's pick potential. I think that's the thing, right? You've got Evelynn, you've got Syndra. These guys are very good at doing these individual plays. And that's kind of the only way in, right? Like, it's weird to me that like that's kind of the comp from Team Coast. It doesn't have that one great singular purpose. What they can do, though, I suppose, is if they do set up RHUX well, right? If Jax does eventually win his lane, if eventually outscales the Renekton, then you can make the situation where you've got this split-pushing Jax that needs an answer, and there's no immediate answer, because you're going to outscale the other split-pusher. Lulu would probably lose the 1-on-1 as well, right? Like, Twitch can have a hard time as well. And you're like, well, the rest of us can disengage. You know, we've got wave clear from Lucian, wave clear from Syndra, right? Nami's a great counter-engage or disengage support as well. So I can see that working if Coast can be like, okay, RHUX is big, and the rest of us can play defense.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how that goes, because RHUX getting big, it is RHUX, and he loves carrying the game, whether it's on an Aatrox. He's carried with Renekton before, and now he has that late-game scaler, Jax. The rest of his team isn't as suited to the late game when you swap it over to Team Green Forest side. They have a Lulu with a Twitch who's going to keep him safe. Twitch's late game is incredibly terrifying. Just shows up, has assassination potential as well as team fight potential. So there's a lot that Twitch brings to the table here that if they just go for a late game here, Jax just isn't auto-win, shut down everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. So then you got to think about some of the other matchups here that are interesting, because you've got we talked about the fact that, you know, Syndra and Evelynn can maybe make picks, but at the same time, you've got a team with a Thresh and a Twitch, right? Like, these champions who are so excellent at being in the right place at the right time, either landing a long-range hook to turn in the fight or just to simply stealth around and kind of get these flank kills. And there's like, I feel like there's just so many more things that Team Green Forest comp can do, right? There's so many more avenues they can attack the game from, so many more ways to control the game. And then there's no real ways for Coast to check brushes. Like, you've got like Lee Sin W, that's kind of it. Like, there's so many like weaknesses here.
You didn't get Lee Sin, it was banned.
Or no, sorry, not Lee Sin, Lucian. Okay. I misspoke.
Okay.
Yeah, Lucian W, right?
I was trying to follow you, and I was like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, no, I apologize for that. Yeah, so like, it just feels like there's this one singular purpose of Coast. It's like, all right, I hope Jax wins, and it's like a bunch of like pretty good champions otherwise.
Okay.
And that's like my read on it, where it's like, I wanna see it work because I like all those champions. Like, I don't see enough Syndra. She's a lot of fun, but I just don't understand the purpose of that composition.
Yeah, it just looks like it's a little bit of a scattered thing. They went with the theme, though. They got a Nami on Coast.
Yeah, good.
So, you know, auto win there for if there was a Maokai on Team Green Forest, then I'd give it to them too. But
true.
We see the Nami alongside the Evelynn, but I want to know how well has Mashme adjusted to the jungle?
Yeah.
That's a big question here, because EREnko, jungler by trade. Mashme, not so much, but he is a mechanically sound player. He's very high up there. He's always been, he's 500 points in Challenger, so he's definitely in that upper half of that, and he knows how to play this game.
Sure.
You know, he's good at League of Legends, let's put it that way. Whether it's AD carry or whether he's in the jungle, but I want to know how good of a jungler he is. What are his map movements like? How can he direct a team?
Yeah, and that's always kind of the difficult thing is, we talked about this, I think, yesterday with the Challenger Series as well, is like, you know, when you're new to a role, you can generally lane pretty all right. That's one of the first things you pick up is like the basics of how my role works. I can clear the jungle, I can, you know, put wards down, I can use a sweeper, I can smite reasonably well. But it's all the intricacies, because like every game is different. Every game of League of Legends is different, right? Yeah. Every single game is different. And your ability to pick up on the important parts of those differences, like, oh, well, the fact that he didn't ward top lane tri-brush means there's like 3 different things that I can do and set up, and all these things that I can bait for.
The butterfly effect in League of Legends.
Yeah, and there's so many of those, right? And unless you've played jungle for 500 games or something, you know, in the season, right? Because the game itself also changes, so season 1 experience a little bit less relevant. You don't necessarily know the things to pick up on. And top-level League of Legends, actually, if I can go one step further, is actually about decision-making more than anything else. Like, the players are roughly on mechanical parity. You don't just, like, auto-win your matchup just because you show up. You are a better player because you have this wealth of knowledge and all these decisions that you can make that you're like, I'm going to outplay you strategically. I'm going to be in the right place at the right time, and you aren't. Thus, this gank works, right? It's like every gank that backfires is usually because you didn't think about something all the way through, right? Or sometimes they're mechanical misplays, but it's just understanding what you actually can do is what determines the win.
Yeah, and also if the other team is a minute ahead of you, then they're definitely at a big advantage.
Oh, yeah.
They've warded it before you get there. They know what you're going to do, and they read you like a book.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of mind games that come into things here, and also you have to prepare yourself, set yourself up for success by thinking ahead. You can't just react in the moment all the time.
No, absolutely not.
Then you're just a micro player.
Yeah, and you've got to get the macro sense at the very least. At least have at least one guy who can do it to direct everyone else, but ideally everyone's there. Yeah, to know what's going on.
And speaking of butterfly effect here, we see that Sarasun has gone with the ruby crystal on the start, which means he's going to have the sightstone a little earlier. Unless Daydreamin gets about a kill in lane. Kill or two, we'll see. But that means he's going to have it earlier. He's going to have the sweeper earlier, so then he'll be able to deny vision in the bottom lane and create vision for Team Green Forest and have some dragon control. We have to see when the backs come out for the bottom lane, and if that even actually is a factor.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because when you have a ruby crystal start, it's actually better in the 2v0 sort of setup, because you can't actually utilize most of your GP10 items, most of the support GP10 items, aside from probably just Relic Shield in these random 2v0 lane swaps, because you're not going to get any harass down on champions. You're not actually pushing turrets, so you're not getting much out of like Spell Thieves, for example. That said, looks like we are going to see the lane swap situation, right? Coast sending the dual lane to the top side. So Daydreamin, unless they're doing a fast push, is not going to get any gold out of that item. And you're going to have a, as you said, really fast Sightstone that could really open the map for TGF.
And also the fact that RHUX is going to be... Actually, no, it's going to be a 4-on-0. That's what it looks like here. RHUX is nowhere near that bottom lane. Yeah, they're going to go for a late invade. Go ahead and get themselves some red buff goodness. They are spotted out, though. So the route is seen by Team Green Forest, and now they know that it's a lane swap, too.
This is interesting. So Green Forest, yeah, they didn't put any aggressive wards really down. It's just enough to spot what the invade was. And they see where it happens, and this actually allows Team Green Forest to grab the 2 buff start, even though you would think, you know, normally speaking, like, oh my gosh, all the buffs on the red side of the map are taken, but it will end up being a 2v2 start it out, and just a standard 2-on-0 lanes.
We also saw that at the blue buff there, EREnko took all of the experience, then he shared experience with DAT Control on the little ones, and that still got him level 2. DAT Control is a very conscious decision to take a step backwards and let all of the experience go to EREnko for the early level 2.
Yeah, that's the way teams are playing it right now, and actually you can notice that they fully clear out the jungle as well. I know Jat talked about this as well in the commentary on the LCS today, but basically the duo lane, right? If your duo lane is top, you own the northern and western jungles, and you should full clear those because it's actually your jungle at that point. The Wraiths will respawn, the Wolves will respawn. Those are the camps that you're going to take. You know, similarly for Team Green Forest, the southern and eastern jungles are theirs to clear, and so you fully clear them, and then you clear them again before you leave your lanes fully.
Yeah, there's no real fast pushes coming out just yet. Just about another wave here.
Yeah, this is the wave where you go for Dragon right now, unless, and I want to see this happen. Right now, actually, there's really good positioning in the mid lane to flank on this Lulu.
He's going to go off to the side, though. His team is all there, and that pink ward from Elise has been placed in that ward bush very early on in the river.
Well, and actually, just because they're just around enough, looks like there's not going to be any play for the Dragon right here. We see a lot of 3.5-minute Dragons, but I like that Coast's sort of jungle duo was near mid. They could react to Dragon if it had happened.
RHUX is going to go ahead and solo some wolves for himself, get himself some experience, and make sure that that Jax is well on his way. He has a little bit of an advantage here in terms of CS over DAT control because he's been sharing more with Mash, who's level 2 to the level 3 of EREnko. But it's not really going to make a difference at all until fights actually start happening. There's going to be no contact for a little while because everybody's just going around with the jungle. It's 4 minutes in, and nobody's fast pushing this. They're just now getting damage onto the turrets.
This is working pretty well, actually. To be honest, like, you're going to get a... Oh my gosh, RHUX. RHUX!
He's got it.
Yep, all right, timed it out. He's level 3 after that one. So you're going to put him in a decent spot. DAT control in level 2. Ooh, flash forced away by Nado already. A flash for nothing. Well played, Coast.
And that sets up Goldenglue a lot, because when you don't have your flash versus a Syndra, the next stun means he's going to get a full combo on you, regardless of having ultimate or not. He also has the Ignite for kill potential in lane, and another visit from Mash is definitely going to happen.
Yeah, right now, though, it's like the Lulu's a little bit too far back. Mashpee is going to... Yeah, there we go. Oh, Sarasun. Okay, gonna be interesting battle.
Also getting collapsed on here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Flashed away because a Flash Flay could have meant death there on that one. And look at this. EREnko does sweep away the trinket.
Yeah, you should flash instead of risking it. You always early flash things like that. Because if the possibility comes out and you don't have the reaction time, because they're basically inputting their abilities, not on a reaction. They're just doing it as an aggressive move.
Yeah.
You won't be able to react in time.
Yeah. That's going to be the case for these guys. So, bottom lane. Freeze right there for Dawn. It's actually going to be Sarasun recalling back, leaving Twitch to gain solo experience. Now that Thresh is 3, to be honest, it's probably the right time. Gets the Sight Stone down there. Pink Ward as well. It's about the right time for those kind of items. Daydreamin has gotten some money from attacking the turret. He did push a little bit there and cash in somewhat. But DAC Control, of course, is around to soak up experience.
And the honorary junglers are now back into their top lanes. Back into their solo lanes here. We see RHUX in the bottom. He's actually going to be one-on-one-ing Dawn currently.
That's going to be a difficult one for Jax. It's level 3 versus level 4.
It's difficult for any bruiser.
Well, sure.
Face an 80 carry early on. And Sarasun, he's actually going to... He's looking for the pink ward in the bush. Because he has the early Sight Stone. He has the sweeper completed. Actually, pink ward's the side bush.
But I don't think he saw the Evelynn, but he was like, if there's an Evelynn there and I get jumped on, it's going to be a bad time. So... a little more defensively. Mashpee's actually going to get spotted there by... Ooh.
Huh.
All right.
All right. He got seen by EREnko, though. Just barely.
Well, it's going to be Mashpee still waiting around the wing. I don't know if he knows he got seen, though, is the thing. So he's got to be a bit careful on this one. More wave clear coming out from Goldenglue right now. He is, by the way, 12 minions up on Nado in this heads-up matchup. We have seen some visits from Mash to force a flash away, maybe scare him off a little bit, but generally speaking, that one-on-one is going Coast's way. You actually see a 200 gold lead for the team. Trinket Ward's going to spot some of this. Top lane turret's going to be going down. The experience fully denied right here, and the gold shared among these members. DAC Control only level 4, only 8 CS. RHUX, though, in a similarly weak position right here. It's going to be some time until these top laners power up.
Yeah, he's trying to soak up experience. Yeah, he basically took free damage there. He's going to have this big wave coming to him, but look at this. Team Green Forest, they know this monster wave is coming down bottom. They're collapsing with 4 members, so RHUX either has to back off and get denied all of the CS and gold and experience, give up the turret, or he gets killed.
Yep.
And loses it all anyway.
So he's going to back off of this one. No one's really there to defend him. No support recalls and jungle recalls don't come in time to make that a 3 versus 3, so a lot of gold lost, and down goes the turret. Team Green Forest answer. They stay within 200 gold. Goldenglue Nado again going for a bit of a trade, but Goldenglue's low on mana there. Shield, bit of damage comes out. No big deal, though.
Yeah, backs haven't come out for the mid laners. We also see that Dawn hasn't backed just yet, and there's a BF sword on Lucian. So he has to back now because he's no longer able to stay in this lane.
Yep, and so he goes for it at about 2,000 gold. So gonna give him Cutlass and maybe like Boots and a Dagger, but that's about it here. Actually, can't quite afford it. We'll see. Cutlass. He's waiting for ambient gold for Dagger if he's waiting in the fountain right here.
And now we see the top laner actually double the CS now for DAC Control. Well done with the Dagger, Boots, and Bilge Water.
Hey, that time I had the dollars on screen. Yesterday it was actually just guessing based on CS. So
it's really good.
Thank you. Well, right now, Daydreamin and WizFujin going to hang out in this bottom lane with pretty much item parity against Dawn and Sarasun. So here comes the 2-on-2. Later level for this one, but both have ultis on the AD carries. Neither of the supports do, which is be an interesting little bit of a trade. Oh, wow. Elise gets around without getting spotted by a ward. Pink wards the brush to make sure she's safe. And now, just shows her to push the turret down.
Mashmee's here too, but there is an ultimate on DAC Control to the no ultimates between RHUX and Mash.
I think RHUX basically showed that Evelynn's around. The fact that he wasn't afraid, they pinged out that Mashpee was somewhere, basically.
It's Schrodinger's Evelynn.
Yeah, Schrodinger's Evelynn.
If somebody acts weird, definitely there, but you can kind of bait people into that too.
Yeah, but that's a lot more risky than throwing a lantern backwards.
Yeah, it is.
It's like the ham version of that. Well, Pink Ward finally goes down though. Coast Goldenglue does remove this one. 11 minion lead still there.
That's kind of like that. I can't tell if they're playing dumb or if there's an Evelynn there.
Yeah. Invisible or dumb? That's the real question. You gotta guess right.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be bad.
You do. So we're reaching the power spikes right now for Jax. As soon as he hits 6, it's a big boon for him when he hits 9 and 13, especially in comparison to Renekton. But he's very item-based, and he's been shut down in the early game. He has half the CS of DAT control, to the point that when the backs come out, DAT control's still going to have an advantage over him by a good margin.
Well, that's going to be a bit of a concern then, because Coast first picked that champion, and it's not working for him so far. RHUX, the replacement for Zion Spartan, a very good player, RHUX, to be fair, but
pretty similar playstyle.
Yeah.
Too. They both like trying to run away with the game and split push the top lane. And now RHUX, he uses his TP to get back up to the top lane, but now it's the bottom lane. It's the former LCS bottom lane against Dawn and Sarasun. Kind of shows in the CS too.
Yeah, they're doing pretty great on this one overall. I got to pretty much commend WizFujin Daydreamin with a bunch of damage comes through to Nado. The ulti popped as well, trades one back, and Mashmi does not put enough damage down with the Evelynn ultimate to get this kill. Forced to flash away. Mashmi really defensive with his flashes.
He's using them at good times, though. He's making sure that nothing could possibly happen. Because if he got EQ'd or even E'd, the Q would have come out afterwards, and they ignite. And it's very possible that with the slow of the Glitter Lance, that EREnko could have caught up. So he's just not even gonna risk it, because he already used his W. So he wouldn't have been able to get out the Glitter Lance slow.
Oh, it is a very risk-averse style, and right now, to be honest, it's working for Coast. A 500 gold lead. Bubble hits Dawn. This is not good for Twitch. Nice juke right there. Blocks it all. Tidewave comes in. Not going to hit the Twitch, but it's 2 Summoner Spells. No, 3 Summoner Spells lost for Team Green Forest, with none used by Coast.
And now Mash is in the bottom lane. He's going to help push this turret down. Eve does very well if there's a minion wave there that he can go ahead and use his Ravage off of to get the bonus attack speed. And that seems to be the style right now for Coast after getting the first turret, is that they want more of these objectives.
And they're going to get some decent damage down. But look at this. They're going to go for the early back. This is, I think it's enough money for BT for WizFujin.
Yeah, we'll get the Bloodthirster off of this.
Yep, that's exactly enough money. Yeah, it's enough money. So BT for WizFujin, and then this does give the chance for this team to set up for Dragon. Now, Nado's trying to do it now while the dual lane is recalled, but it's a short window.
They're all there, though, and now Mashmi is nowhere near. They know that the back came out for the bottom lane, and now they give up a Dragon. It's going to give, actually, a gold lead to Team Green Forest.
That's just unfortunate, like, really bad timing by Coast, though. They pushed them out of the lane, did nothing with it, recalled late, and gave up map control. You don't normally push your opponents out of lane and give up an objective because of it, but bad timing by Coast, and a great capitalization by TGF.
Yeah, it's all about that back and that buy window, because we already saw that Dawn had backed. He got boots for himself, and then in the meantime WizFujin backed, but it was a couple seconds delayed. That by the time he got to Dragon, he was already gone, so they had no chance there.
So well played with these guys. Equal gold now between these teams. Ooh, a lot of damage.
Slow.
Dawn's got to be pretty careful. Not the best culling though. Renekton takes a couple of shots. Dawn does stay safe, but Team Green Forest, that Dragon only puts them in a 200 gold lead right there. They do have the advantage, but it's not very big.
They sweep it, but they don't get that ward in the back. And Mashmi is now down bottom. He knows that the other junglers here, EREnko, is off on the side, and that it's time for the blue buff.
Well, here comes the attempt. 13 minutes, 20 seconds into the game.
Oh, is he going to get spotted by Dawn?
Oh, he's got to be careful. The flay, the hook, not going to land either. Mashmi walking away, pops the ulti, the flash play, the box comes down. Mash is not in a good spot, and he gets crushed down right there. First blood goes over to TGF EREnko's Elise.
Yeah, not enough ward coverage there, but there's Goldenglue.
A lot of damage. Nice flash gets him away from the bubble. The Lulu ulti as well, keeping his health bar up just enough. Blue buff now being taken as well. Smite and no steals. It's going to be Nado grabbing the blue buff there. Team Green Forest just turned it on in the last minute.
Yeah, Mashmi didn't have his flash, went for an aggressive invade there. They collapsed on him because they needed the help, because it was very possible. It was Schrodinger's Evelynn, right? Go ahead and be like, all right, he can be anywhere, so if we're going to go do blue, he could steal it. Let's go help our jungler. And it comes up big for them. The hook didn't even land, but if it did, it would have been an even faster death. Instead, they blow the flash to get the distance closed. And the Dark Frenzy was already used, so he couldn't walk through the box, and then used to get rid of the slow. But man, the duel's up top.
Yeah, well, you're seeing a lot of damage come out of that control right there, and RHUX does not have his sustain core right now. It's just the double Doran's Blade. No Vamp Scepter out yet for this Jax. And so that kind of harassed, even though that control takes damage when he goes in, Renekton can heal that back up without too much worry. So he's continuing a almost 40 minion lead here. The recall from RHUX, he might as well teleport back. There's no dragon up anyway. He's actually going to lose a wave of XP because of this. It's actually the turret will go down for this one. So top lane, big advantage Team Green Forest. Mid lane, advantage to Goldenglue. Bot lane, fairly equal.
It's actually very good that he didn't teleport top because they would have converged on him there. We saw that Nado was off on that side, that EREnko was making a move there too, and Sarasun. It would have basically been what happened in the LMQ versus TSM, where we saw the top laner for LMQ, Ackerman, TP to the top lane. They're like, oh, we're all here, we're ready for you. And then he had to blow his flash gate out. But look at Dawn, they're ready for him.
Oh, they are ready for him. Dawn's not going to be liking this one. Kill picked up by Daydreamin's Ignite tick, but that is still a kill nonetheless. And the bot lane turret going down. So back and forth, these teams are trading advantages over and over and over again. But right now, it does mean a gold lead goes back Coast's way, plus 700 gold.
Return to the scene of the crime and get an advantage.
Very good choice.
Down the Twitch there. The gangster Twitch, too.
Yeah. That was unfortunate for that guy. 4-man push down to the bot lane. RHUX has not been able to buy any items, but the bubble will hit onto Sarasun. Some good harass comes through. They're staying for this turret, but maybe staying a little bit too long. WizFujin gets one more attack down. Down it goes. Nado off in the wing, spotted by a ward. Sarasun taking a big burst of damage. Culling nearly takes him down, but the summoner heal not going to be enough there. One kill picked up. DAC control in the mix. A lot of AoE coming down, and it's just kill trade back and forth, but overall 2-for-1 Coast lead. But Team Green Forest, they're not going to get anything else.
There's a great culling and aggressive play there by WizFujin to flash forward and also use the heal for the bonus movement speed so that he could get in there. And then DAC Control comes in, uses the Tiamat. So much fury on his Call of the Meek that the damage that they dealt was incredible. Now Coast has a gold lead. They're up 2 turrets after that push. This is all culminating from the bottom lane too. So we see here, RHUX goes in, he gets the stun after flashing onto 2 people, and the culling almost takes out Sarasun, but then he flashes forward and picks it up for himself. But right here, DAC Control just goes huge with the damage there. Just chunks everybody down, but unfortunately, he's not tanky right now. When you have the Tiamat and that's it, you have no defensive stats. You're going to be very squishy.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? This is a lane-swapped game. It was 2v0s. He's only level 10 right there, so he's missing out on that rank 2 ulti that Goldenglue has, right? That'd be another 200-something health that Renekton would have. The extra damage, maybe having a chain vest in there, right, might have just been enough to keep him alive. But when your top lane is held down, and the enemy top lane is held down, you can turn back onto him in the team fight, and you saw that right there.
Yeah, and the big thing with Renekton is that his base stats in terms of HP per level are very low in comparison to Jax. So that's a lot of Jax's scaling, is his base stats are huge. So Renekton relies on his ultimate to get tanky, but it's HP. HP is multiplicative off of defensive stats. And if you just stack more HP on, it's not as wonderful. So as soon as he gets tanky, he's going to be a little more effective, but because of the way that Renekton scales up, he gets outscaled by Jax incredibly well.
Yeah, and he's got some time to go until he's a big, beefy frontline. Does have the Tiamat, though. RHUX still waiting, though, 18 minutes in. No Triforce just yet for him. Waiting on the Zeal and the Combine, though he can't be too far away. DAC Control, though, getting picked off. A lot of pick potential here against TGF. DAC Control forced away below half health, and Coast pushing down pretty heavily in the mid lane.
And now they're going to have WizFujin coming up here too. RHUX off on the side. He's 40 CS down. Dragon in 10 seconds, and RHUX is coming now. He doesn't have flash. He also doesn't. Oh, wow. The hook on the Wiz.
Not good for WizFujin. Down to half HP. Gets healed up, though. The Mikhail's helping him as well, but there's the first pick. Goes down onto Sarasun's Thresh. Burst on a Dawn. He's going to stay safe, though. Team Green Forest keep going. DAC Control wants a battle. He's going to have to hop over the wall to get safe. Goldenglue now getting helped out by RHUX, and Nado goes down. A 2-for-0 fight. EREnko can't quite claim it. And another kill goes over to Goldenglue this time. Coast winning every team fight.
And RHUX shows up basically to just soak up the glory afterwards. It was a 4-on-5 in favor of Team Green Forest, but the way that Coast played it was just right. The hook onto WizFujin, but WizFujin gets out of it. We see it here. Mikhail's Crucible coming up big there from Daydreamin. That duo was played together in the LCS, and they show the synergy. DAC Control, he comes in there, and now RHUX is off on the side, but DAC Control is immediately out of the fight. And RHUX comes in to get Nado, and then it's a very risky move by Goldenglue there. If EREnko was able to swap the out of form and then get another Q with the Neurotoxin, may have been enough to finish him off.
Yeah, it just might have been, but unfortunately for him, couldn't get that one out there. Team Green Forest now trying to pick up the scraps. Down 5,000 gold 19 minutes in. Looks like blue buff will be going to Nado, so they haven't been getting counter jungles for what it's worth. TGF have only been losing, I mean, it matters, right? Like, they've been losing turrets and champions and whatnot, but at the very least, they're fighting close to what would otherwise be full power.
Yeah, it's a big thing for MASH, Especially as a jungler, you need to learn the style of how to counter jungle and when it's effective and when it's safe. Because safe counter jungling is the best counter jungling. The very risky plays that we saw him going for earlier might have scarred him a tiny bit. Been like, okay, I don't need to do that again. I gave up first blood. Let's just team fight. Let's just continue to get these small advantages and group when we counter jungle.
Well, looks like they're going to be grouping up right now. Coast looks pretty happy just to play 5-on-5 with the fact that RHUX isn't a very successful split pusher right now. Does have Trinity Force 20 minutes in. Clears away some Wraiths. Coast trying to get wards down. Wow. That Wraith helped Daydreamin a little bit.
Secret Service Wraith.
Yeah, pretty much. Jumped in front of the Cocoon. He's happy with this one. Coast, though, grouped up mid lane. They're going to go with RHUX now having his Triforce. He's going to go to the bottom lane. So they are now starting the split push game. Dawn forced to pull back and join the team, which is going to give RHUX free time.
Yeah, it's that big item spike with the Trinity Force onto RHUX. And now Daydream, he's going to clear out this ward, and they're going to create more pressure. RHUX can just shove up this side lane that has no turret but the inhibitor turret, and they can go do something else somewhere because he has teleport. He's able to join these fights at their own leisure, and they can kite backwards. They have a Nami. If they get engaged on, kite backwards, place a ward, kite even further, and then RHUX ends up on the back line because of the ward.
Well, that's going to be the goal for Coast. Then if they do get engaged on, is play it right, do the good things. Team Green Forest right now waiting top of their own pink wards. They're not spotted. Look at this by Coast, though.
Yeah.
They hug the side of the lane with wards to prevent that. Minions block the hooks. Dawn wants to get in, doesn't land the slow. Daydreamin is separated, but with an ult, he's not.
Kite backwards.
Exactly. Wow. Wow. The chance of a stun that actually missed from Goldenglue forces the flash away. Cooling removes minions. TGF well afraid.
Yeah. Meanwhile, RHUX is pushing this lane. There's no teleport from Dat Control. They ping it out. And now RHUX is at that point that he could actually, he could go one-on-one with Dat Control.
Yes. It's a scary time to be Team Green Forest right now. That mid-game advantage completely slipped away. Now Bubble, not quite going to hit. TGF still clearing away minions for now. But there's no Talisman of Ascension yet here for Sarasun. So no big power coming in just yet for the team. And to be honest, I don't actually... I mean, basically, they have to land a hook and go in at some point, but I don't even know if they'd win when they landed.
Yeah. Right now, RHUX is actually losing small exchanges with Dat Control because of the health that he gets back from Call of the Meek, whereas RHUX has no sustain. But the fact that he has teleport is huge. They're going straight for this Wiz. Can he get it? He's going to get that turret. And they're just getting these objectives purely from just flexing their muscle. Now RHUX.
Wow, really good play by Dat Control. Actually, RHUX got to be a bit careful. But hey, look, there is a Syndra. Putting some damage down. Nado, the Cocoon nearly landed, but Goldenglue gets hooked up. Good McHale keeps him safe. And it's going to be Coast getting away for this one. Still running, though. Dat Control wants another way in. Puts the trinket down. RHUX again separated.
He's got the slice and the flash. He's not going to go for it.
No, he's not. He's going to be all right for this one. There was a trinket hop available for RHUX if he wanted it, so looks like he's going to stay safe. Hook not going to land.
Super juked.
On the other side. Yeah, he's going for maybe the Syndra there. Didn't find it. Coast, though, setting up a trap. A lot of CST comes in. The flash bubble.
Double.
It lands on two. The burst comes down, and Dat Control gets shut out. The flash in. Mashby finds another 2 for 0 so far. Now the chase. Tidal splits up the team. They don't find anything else, but a push top lane, 5v3.
And now they're going to be able to push this straight down. That was a good tidal wave because it made Nado go off to the side. It's going to delay him by about a second here, considering it's Lulu getting to this lane, and that's a lot of their wave clear, too.
And look at that one, turret nearly going down, but they go for the fight instead. The flash, no stun's going to land because they flash away, but TGF forced out away from the turret. 5 seconds for the Renekton respawn. And it's just the turret and the backup by Coast.
Yeah, and they don't go for the inhibitor. Instead, going to cut their losses and be like, all right, you know what, or cut their victories, I guess. They ended up just being like, you know what, that's fine. We can get all of these turrets for ourselves. They're up 6-2, and they have the opposite lanes here. So they can go ahead and put somebody top, eventually push that inhibitor down. They can go rotate mid and then be like, all right, we're going to siege this turret and put one person to go after the inhibitor. And it's just guaranteed pressure. Because you have somebody like RHUX, who he's hitting that point where he can duel other members of the team, they'll be able to pick it up. That's a great double bubble there for Daydreamin. Daydreamin's been having an amazing game all game long. His McHales have been on point. He's saved Goldenglue, he's saved WizFujin from the Thresh. The fact that I was talking earlier in Champion Select, that Thresh does so well against Nami, not when she has McHales. You can go ahead and break the chain, break the hook when it lands, and just stop the engage.
It's working so well right now. Mashby level 11, though, is forced a little bit back on this one, but honestly with Coast 7,000 up, they're going to be pretty all right with this one. EREnko Gotta be careful in this blue. They're still trying for it though, but Coaster on the way back around, stolen away by WizFujin, and they chase on in. Team Green Force went so hard for that blue buff, and I don't really know why. RHUX picks up the kill before the Lantern can bring him all the way to safety, and that is another advantage going to Coast.
Comes out of the Lantern, it's just a dead spider body there. I didn't pull this in. And they go straight after the Dragon afterwards now, getting that objective off of it. They're now 9,000 gold up after this. Really, really good performance here from Coast. All around. I gotta shout out this bottom lane though. They are doing huge work with Fusion and Daydream and just really showing their synergy that they've developed throughout their year together.
Yeah, that's kind of always been the thing with Coast. Like, their players have actually always been individually strong. Like Goldenglue's top 40 in Challenger, WizFujin top 15, right? Like they were that, like those players individually were that good when they were in the LCS. The problem is the LCS players were like top 8 in the region in their respective role, and so it's hard to shine there. But you step the competition down just half a notch, and you can see, no, these guys are really that good.
Yeah, it's like a different tier right now.
Yeah,
the former LCS players, actually 4.
All 5 of Ghost
all of them
played.
actually, yeah. Nash played too. That's right. RHUX.
Original TGU roster.
Yep.
Nash nearly it took, does get away for this one. Coast looking pretty happy right there. Over a 10,000 lead now, 33. Dat control, he's going to face check another Thresh. Stunned up, the burst comes down, pops the ulti, flashes the wall. Ignite's not going to claim into the victim, but a 400 health Renekton, not exactly useful.
Yeah, and at the same time, there's no teleport on RHUX right now, and they're going after this middle turret for Team Green Force, but at the same time, look at that, a 4-man push top. They're going to lose an inhibitor for this.
Yeah, they're trading basically top inhib for mid lane outer turret, and Coast knows the recalls are going to be slow. Big damage comes in with Fusion, cheating towards the front. EREnko actually gets spotted out by RHUX, so they know it's a 4v4, meaning Coast can continue to play aggressively. RHUX got to be a bit careful in his 1v2. Don wants in on this.
He's trying to stop the backs and keep tabs on them as his team collapses behind him.
They're trying to do what they can to kill off RHUX right away, though. Ruin King used. No stun's going to land. He's going to jump to a minion. RHUX is safe. Ulti popped by Don for no gain right here. And now he's got to be careful. Coaster coming in. I think he's okay.
He's going to get himself out with the ambush, the movement speed. Now RHUX is going to have to back. His teleport is up in about 40 seconds. We'll have to see what they end up doing with it because Dat Control does not have his for a much longer period of time. And now they have super minions in the top lane, so go ahead and split push the other lanes.
Exactly. There's a lot to do right here. RHUX, again, as you mentioned, teleport up very soon. Does let him go somewhere else if he wants to. He's actually still down 30 minions, but he's finding a way to be useful in fights regardless. Of course, picking up kills will help you.
So Goldenglue is using his Q to stack up how many orbs he has for when he bursts somebody.
Ooh. Yep. That's going to be scary. You're going to take a lot of damage. Also, yeah, you get a lot of stuns, you get a lot of ulti damage. All of the above is going to be great for Syndra. Not going to happen, though. Team Green Force calls the bluff and just says, you know, we're just going to go for mid lane turret, but there's the engaged Tidal Wave. Evil not going to land the Tidal Wave, though, and it means that actually TGF get away without taking too much damage, but now can Coast keep going? And now they're looking for the way in. EREnko jumps over the wall. He's safe for now. Glitterlance lands on the 2. And there's the recall. Coast get nothing for that. Team Green Force get the tier 2 turret and to get out.
Good ulti by Mash, but the follow-up by Daydreamin, like I was saying, they have the 2 secondary engages, which create a primary engage. But if they land, they both have to land. That is the thing. If you miss one of them, it's just going to flub it.
Yep. It's 2 halves make a hole, and until you get both of them in there, it's not going to be enough right there. It's actually an interesting observation, actually. It's happened in, of course, CLG versus Dignitas, where they said, screw it, we can't stop Baron, go down mid. At a certain point, Baron baits become, you know what, just rush Baron, because the metagame will be they don't check us anyway. Oh, EREnko with a very, very late jump over. He is going down.
He missed the Lantern, too, because he flashed over.
Yeah. That was not ideal. So now it's Baron plus a kill now. Team Coast with a inhibitor dead in the top lane as well. There's so much these guys can do.
It's a huge amount of pressure now that Coast can apply for very little risk. Because they have the Baron, because they have such a large advantage, they're going to go ahead and claim towers so quickly. RHUX is just going to tank that up, use his ultimate, and now get another inhibitor for themselves. These turrets are just crumbling, and Coast are looking in prime shape despite the roster changes.
Coast looking awesome. 13,000 gold, a little bit of slows coming out, and the respawns come through. Coast wearing a Baron and 2 dead inhibitors to keep this pressure going under 30 minutes, and they're looking to close this game up before too long. Dragons hit a minute 40. Spend their gold from Baron. Yeah, they've got like 3,000 gold on some people. You probably buy at that point.
Yeah, I would say that's the point that you want to buy at. Go ahead and get yourself a full item immediately. Don't even get pieces. And the big thing there is it's a great choice because a lot of them had 3,000 gold. So they were basically only 4,000 gold up.
Yeah.
In combat stats.
Well, plus Baron, but yeah.
Yeah. At that
in their inventories.
Because gold in your inventory is not gold in terms of stats.
You can't hit anyone with a bag of gold.
You could.
Not
Apparently
in League of Legends.
It doesn't hurt that much.
Not in League of Legends. No. You cannot swing your wallet. Actually, LoL uses credit cards. So, I mean, no matter how much money it doesn't do any more damage. Yeah. So, there
Makes
you go.
Sense.
Yeah, see? Here we go. WizFujin going to start the push in the bot lane. They're actually taking their time, though. Goldenglue taking his blue buff over on the left-hand side of the map. They're certainly not rushing this game down.
No.
So they're going to say, you know what? You're not going to contest us. We've got enough wards that'll watch you come down the map. Take all the gold for whatever reason. Grab the buffs. Now let's group up. But it's just one push till Coast should win.
Look at that. WizFujin, he's in no rush. He's just sitting there. Yeah, I'll CS1. Okay, now my team's here. But TGF, they're looking for a pick. They're all in this bush. They have the pink ward down. They know they haven't been spotted. So looking for the all-in here. It's going to be a 4-on-5 until Goldenglue gets there.
4-on-5. The hook's going to go in. Mashpee gets found out. A lot of burst comes in. He's got to be careful. There's the box coming down. One kill picked up, though. Mashpee just won't go down. That's the power of a gold lead. Dat Control dives to the back line, but doesn't find anything. 2 for 0 so far. The health bar is diminishing. One more kill picked up, and only Dat Control is alive despite the bait, despite the pick in the 4v5. The gold lead was too much. RHUX TP's top lane. That's going to be the game. Team Coast going to take out game 1, only giving up 2 kills the whole way through.
Yeah, we saw the hook land onto Daydreamin, and the perfect tidal wave that hit everybody comes out, playing that Nami perfectly. They end up with a much-deserved victory here for Team Coast, despite the new roster. That lane, that bottom lane, coming up big. 6-0-9 for Wiz, 2-0-13 for Daydreamin. All across the board, fantastic performance. The